Let's talk about the implications for playoffs for VCT Americas. We're going to go over two different groups that we have right now. We have G2, Energy, and Leviathan. Right now, they're the top group. Then we have the rest of the pack. We have 100 Thieves, MIBR, Loud, Furia, and EG. So now let's bring up the bracket. Right now, we're going to start with Lev. Lev is the top seed. They have 20 points. And for the most part, the simplest route for them to win is for G2 to lose. They can lose in the first game. They can lose in the second game as long as they don't make top 4. Plain and simple, they lose their first game, Lev qualified, even if they win or lose against MIBR. The one thing about this bracket is that top 2 obviously qualifies you into champs regardless. Even if you win or lose, top 2 secures you a spot in champs. Then once the top 2 teams are qualified, then it goes to champs points. So teams like Energy, G2, and Leviathan are trying to secure placement spots to either guarantee their spot or at least up their seeding, whether it be a first seed, second seed, third seed, or fourth seed. And it is possible for these teams to be able to not make it in. Since they're so close in points, it's very possible for a team like Leviathan, for Energy and G2 to leapfrog them in points if Leviathan doesn't perform well in playoffs. 2 other teams have to make top 2. So here's a quick scenario for Leviathan if they weren't able to qualify. Teams like 100 Thieves and Loud that aren't in the top 3 would have to make it into top 2. Leviathan would have to do poorly, and G2, the 2 other teams that are close to 11 points, would have to be in top 4 as well. G2, Energy, and Leviathan just all decide to do bad and they don't do good, then the standings will say, and most likely one of them would have to be cut. But given the scenario that they have 3 teams that are really close in points, all they need is 1 team to be able to win. And to reiterate, this is the scenario where Lev doesn't make it in. G2 and Energy either get +5 or +4, overtaking Leviathan, who currently has 20 points, while G2 has 17 points and Energy has +4 points. For G2, who's sitting second in champs points right now at 17, they would need to at least make top 4. G2 wouldn't necessarily need to be in the lower or grand final. Being able to pick up points would allow them to leapfrog teams like Lev and NRG. And now Energy is the only team that is 1 win away from being able to qualify champs. So even if they lose in the upper semis to either Loud or Furia, they can go to the lower bracket, win one more game, and be able to qualify. Let's say like a team like Leviathan, let's say Energy loses and they go to the lower bracket. Leviathan would secure enough points where they would place at least top 3, and Energy would secure enough points to where they at least place top 4. So now let's move on to the rest of the pack, where now we have 100 Thieves, and pretty much 100 Thieves would need to make top 4 again, but there's a little bit of nuance. So let me show you the scenario where both Energy are making it into the top 2. 100 Thieves make it into the lower round, and let's say they go play an MIBR. MIBR currently has 7 points, 100 Thieves have 9 points. If you look at the math, even if MIBR were to win, they simply wouldn't have enough chance points to be able to make it off. Just points. They would have to make top 2. 100 Thieves can make it into 4th only if Energy and Leviathan are the top 2. If we're given the scenario where MIBR goes into the lower final, ends up winning that, they would no longer rely on chance points to be able to win. And so that would push MIBR to the top, no matter if they win 1st or 2nd, and then that would push the rest of the pack, 100 Thieves being 4th in line to 5th, and then we'd have Energy, G2, and Leviathan being able to make it into grand finals. And this same thing applies to Furia. Since they have the same points as MIBR, the same situation applies where 100 Thieves could make it into top 4, not making it into the lower final, as long as Furia loses the lower final and Energy and Leviathan both make it into the grand final. Furia would not be able to make it off on points. Now let's talk about 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves right now are the 4th team, and they're going to hope for a lot of things to happen if they don't make top 2. Right now, 100 Thieves could make top 3, but that still wouldn't guarantee them a spot, especially if a team like MIBR went on a run. 100 Thieves still make top 3. Let's say a team like Energy and MIBR. It can be any 2 teams in the top 2. 100 Thieves make top 3, and MIBR make it into this top 2 position. It would be MIBR, Energy, G2, and Leviathan. The only way 100 Thieves would be able to make it off of points is if Energy and Leviathan make it to both the grand finals, and then 100 Thieves made top 4. Luckily for 100 Thieves is that even if MIBR makes it into top 3 but loses in the lower final, 100 Thieves would still have enough points given the fact that MIBR is at a 2-point deficit compared to 100 Thieves. So that means between 3rd and 4th there's only a 1-point deficit. And since 100 Thieves have 2, so 100 Thieves are allowed the grace to be able to lose to MIBR as long as MIBR doesn't make it into the top 2. They would need Energy and Leviathan to make top 2. For MIBR, they can qualify through points as long as 100 Thieves don't win a single game. Under the condition that 100 Thieves lose both of their games and MIBR makes top 4, then that would rely on the rest of the teams that are below it. Right now, they're tied with Furia. If Furia were to meet MIBR in this lower bracket and, they just both make a run, then the winner of this game would determine who makes it into champs, as long as the teams are Leviathan and Energy. So in this scenario, if Furia were to win this game, then they would qualify to champs. Energy and Leviathan would take the top 2 spots, then it'd be G2, and then the winner of this game would take the more points at the end of the game. Obviously, 3rd would equal 5th. 3rd would equal 5 points, 4th would equal 4 points. Since they're tied at the same points, winner takes all. So for Furia, as long as the teams are either G2, Leviathan, or Energy that make it into top 2, and no other team takes their place, and they finish in top 3, then they make it in. And for EG, the easiest one is that EG don't have enough points. Right now they have 2 points. They went on a run in play-ins and they're looking pretty good, but they would need to make top 2. They're one of the teams that are kind of like a tier 2 team where, you know, from here on out, any loss pretty much eliminates them, and they pretty much would need that top 2 spot in order to make it and be able to secure champs. I saved the best for last, and that's Loud. And that's because it's a little bit more complex. Loud is a point behind Furia and MIBR. If Loud were to make it into this lower final and were to play a team like Furia, this brings out tiebreaker scenarios where if Furia wins in a 2-0 fashion, then Loud would have to come back and dominate them even more in a 2-0 fashion. And then that would come down to round differential. And that's a little bit more complex, but given the fact that each game is going to matter, if Furia and Loud go and meet up again, then a lot more of the first match has implications on the second match. So for example, if Furia win 2-1 and then Loud win 2-0, then Furia would still win the tiebreaker because they would tie on champs points, but Furia has a bigger map differential. Again, it's 2-1 versus 2-0. So then that would lead to 3-2, and then Furia would win the tiebreaker. But if Furia win 2-0 and Loud win 2-0, then it would go to round differential. How much are they winning per map? So I hope you're following with me. That's why Loud I kind of saved for last, just because it is the same thing with MIBR. It's the same thing if we swapped the two. Since MIBR won 2-0 in the previous game in stage 1, Loud would have to come into this game, not drop a map, and win more dominantly in order to qualify through points. So if Loud drop a map, but they still make it on to the slower round, they would have to make top 2 and no longer have to rely on points to be able to make it into champs. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed and hope you follow along. And especially if you have a team that you're rooting for, you can come back to this video and catch up on things in case things go sporadic and wild. But for the most part, I hope I lined things out pretty simple and clearly. But yeah, I did a lot of research into this, a lot of time into this. I mean, I even recorded a separate take where the mic was all buggy, but I really wanted to finish this video and give it with good quality, and so I re-recorded it, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And by the way, on this channel I also do breakdowns of teams. I've done videos on Sen, I've done videos on KRX, and also I do watch parties of Pacific, Americas, and EMEA. If you like to tune in for watch parties, I will be doing that as much as I can. If not, I just hope you enjoy the videos. But yeah, that's it. I appreciate it. Subscribe.